Good morning. This is Dr. Bryan Jones. This is the Therapeutic Conversation Show. I am joined here today with my co-host, Angela Dean. Hey, Angela.
Hey, y'all, I'm
We are
back.
here in the house. Now, the camera right there, because
Oh,
we got to
yes.
get adjusted. I tell you, technology is wonderful, but here in Atlanta, we are live, but it is raining and it's all kinds of stuff going on. But guess what? We here and we are going to do what we do, right?
Yes, that's right.
All right.
We're
So
pushing forth anyhow.
anyhow, we got an anyhow spirit
That's
today.
right. Oh, my. Oh, my.
in
What it took
spite
to
of
get here.
in
Yes.
spite of spirit today. Anyway, we're so thankful for 108 Praise Radio and Courtney and the staff and all that's going on. We're gonna have a good time today, but we're gonna talk about some real issues today, some real challenges today. But even as we began talking, we want to really first for our therapeutic moment, we want to zone in on First Corinthians chapter 12, verses 12 through 31. That's First Corinthians chapter 12, verses 12 through 31. And if we look at this particular text, it says, as one body is, for as the body is one and have many members, and all the members are one body, being many, many are in one body. All right. And then it goes, I'm not going to just read all of it, but basically the text is talking about that we're one body
Yes.
and that we're unified and we're connected. And I think that that is just a wonderful text. It also talks about diversity. That it says if the hand doesn't want to be part of the body, how is the body basically going to function? And I'm definitely doing my exegesis on this text.
Okay.
But as we and interpretation, but as we look at it, we're one body. That's the message today. That we're one body, we're one spirit, we're one member, and we're united and we're connected. And one thing that we teach in pastoral care, we talk about the importance of looking at mirroring ourselves in other people. And what I have been working on and thinking about is that if I'm seeing something in somebody else that's troubling me, I have to look at myself to see what in the universe am I attracting and why I am attracting those type of people to me.
What's really going on?
I know that was quick for some of us because it was quick for me. But the revelation is sometimes even in relationships, we have to look at our own selves
Yeah.
and say, why are we attracting the same people, especially in intimate relationships? We're attracting the same folk. It's the same situation. And guess what? And that's what I like about Oprah. She said life is a classroom and we're learning, right?
Yes, right. But remember, tuition is very costly.
Oh.
So don't keep taking the same courses over and over.
Well-
Tuition is high. That's what my pastor
Well,
said.
yes, that's Dr. Kenneth L. Samuel. Definitely, he said that. And so, anyway, the point is, we got to look within ourselves sometime, and not to say that we're going to take on other people's issues now, but I
Right.
do think that if you're going through a series of relationships, and that's what we're going to kind of talk about today for a little bit too, because I think it's very vital that we consider and that we look at the fact of the matter that we got to look within ourselves.
Yeah.
But also know that we're connected. If so many people are hurting. I know this week our president said some things and people have done some things and all of those type of things. But when one person is hurting in a body, a body of Christ, as the text says, but in a body of just people, of the human race,
Yeah.
that we have to begin to pay attention and listen to people that are hurting and be preventative. And that's what we've been talking about on the show. Last week we talked about AIDS and HIV, and we addressed those things. We had a pastor, Reverend Andre Leopard. You all had said comments all week about his experience and him dealing also in the justice system and the lack of mental health services for his situation and all of those type of things. And so I just think that all of those things are very vital as we're talking about the body. But there's also, we need to talk about healing. Healing
Yes.
is just a thing that we we don't really deal with well. And so that's our therapeutic moment for the show. But just think about it. Sometimes we got to look within ourselves and say, why am I attracting? I got 5 relationships and it's the same person. It's the same situation. Why do stuff
Yes.
over and over again? And that's why you need to go to counseling. Because counseling helps people identify these patterns. If you can't do it yourself, definitely, you need to go to counseling and begin to talk through some of these things that are going on. So those things are very, 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 very vital.
And a self-check for that is if you find yourself always talking about the same issues and perhaps the same person with other people, and that takes up most of your time in your conversation, it's probably past time, to go talk to a professional, because I can guarantee you your friends and family no longer want to hear about that. They've given you the best that they probably can give you, and the support and the love, and they're tired of hearing it.
Oh, no.
So that's why everybody needs a counselor at some point, because
Yes.
if you're in this cycle, you need something other than your closest network, because sometimes they can even give you the good advice, but you're not ready. And
Yes.
and sometimes family and friends, some of them will be real with you and tell you the truth. But even in that, if you can't accept the truth from them, even though you're seeking conversation, sometimes you just want to keep talking about it. But a professional, a good one, will challenge you.
And see, that's the problem. Some people don't want to be challenged.
That's what it is. They want to stay stuck.
And you can't grow when you're not challenged. All right, we talking today. And I think that those things are important. But you said, wait, hold on. I got to make sure you said, I understand what you said, that if I'm in a relationship and I'm talking about the ex so much, and the ex used to do this, and the ex used to do that, and that there's a problem.
There's a big problem.
There's a huge problem. And we got to be, because everything is connected. We got to really get that down today and really listen to that everything is connected. Everything that we go through is connected.
Yeah.
And that we got to, but all we have control over is ourselves, our thinking and our development. And then how do we interact with other people? Because I think that's important. And we're going to talk a little bit about self-awareness.
Yay!
Because we do not talk, I know that's your thing, but we do not talk about that, about self-awareness. Some people just show up in negative energy, just show up and just say whatever and just have no sense of awareness, no thoughts, just saying any old thing, about anything. And so I think that we got to start examining and listen to what's coming out of our mouths.
Yeah.
What are we thinking? What are we being? And then also appropriate boundaries. That's a whole nother, what are you willing to do? And you call it deal breakers. You call it deal breakers. We on it today.
I got chill bumps.
We on it. I mean, I felt the spirit. I felt
Love
the
it.
spirit
I love
today.
it.
So we're thankful. We got Megan Sparks joining us. Thank you for joining us. Margaret. Hey,
y'all.
Margaret's on. Carolyn's on today. So we got several people that are on and joining us. Please share it. Please like the Therapeutic Conversation Show. We are definitely going in today. First thing I want to address is I was featured in a local paper.
How wonderful.
Where I grew up, called the Southside Sentinel. And I was so honored that I was featured. And it's good to be featured in the paper now, you all.
In a positive light.
In a positive light, especially when you leave the area. You understand what I'm saying? So they featured me. I wrote the article up, but they put it and they gave me a big old, I know y'all may not be able to see it, but I'm going to just flash it.
You should definitely frame that.
I am a big old article, about, and it says Reverend Dr. Jones graduates from United Theological Seminary. So y'all see the picture. I see it's up there, so y'all can see the picture. And so that I'm graduating from seminary, and they just honored me, and I'm so honored that they honored me.
Absolutely.
And that and that people are responding in positive ways and encouraging me and stuff. Even on the show, I'm just thankful that everybody's encouraging and supportive, and just all of the emails and calls that we get. I mean, people definitely want to hear about mental health, and that's just awesome.
They do.
Because we're in a season now that we got to start dealing with our mental processes. We got to start dealing with what we're thinking and how we're functioning and examining things, and also looking at our surroundings, because there's so many different things going on. Now, also in the news, Michelle Williams checked herself into a
Yes.
mental health
Yes,
facility, and
I saw
also
that.
also she said some comments that were very powerful about mental health. What do you think?
I do remember her declaring a few years ago she had suffered with depression and even some suicidality.
Oh,
And so she's had the mental health challenge with the depression for some time.
okay.
And now she has taken that step forward in her celebrity to use that platform to really promote and encourage others to look at mental health differently. And yes, so she did check herself in, which is a very courageous thing
Wow.
for her to do and for anyone to do, to get to the place as Reverend Dr. Bryan
All
Jones
right
said
now.
earlier.
All right, watch it.
It is important that we realize how we're showing up and how we're
Yes.
impacting others when we show up, and
Yes.
how life is impacting us. And so, yeah, I think that was a wonderful thing. I didn't hear her remarks about
Well,
it,
she
though.
did a tweet or something about it from what I read,
Okay.
and and just saying that she's always been an advocate, but she's also, I mean, I'm interpreting also about self care for herself, and that she knew when she needed to get the help and the support. So prayers and thoughts,
Yes.
definitely going out to her
Yes.
during her time of healing, whatever's
Yes.
going on, and I just think it's awesome when celebrities can just be honest, because a lot of them are taking risks, even in their
Absolutely.
sales, and whether people
Yeah.
want to, because there's still a lot of stigma that
It
we
is.
still have to speak to
Yes.
when it comes to mental health in our communities, especially in the music industry as well. But also in church and just in the African American community, Black community, it's just so many things that are hindering us, and we're not dealing well with the mental health. So, definitely thoughts and prayers go
Yes,
out to her
absolutely.
during that time. We also have another wonderful workshop coming up. So Angela is soon to be Dr. Angela Dean.
Lord help me.
Is she working through it, you all? She working through it. Prayers, prayers. But she is definitely is going to be doing a workshop tomorrow. Let me go ahead and give it to you. It says overcoming stress and anxiety in life and in the workplace. Let me break that down. Overcoming stress and anxiety in life and in the workplace. And that's tomorrow at the Victory for the World Church, where our pastor is Dr. Kenneth L. Samuel. Is definitely, so we definitely honor to him to allow this workshop to
Yeah.
take place. It's also part of a United Church of Christ grant to be able to offer this type of service, and it's free.
Yeah.
But it is tomorrow, right after church, around 12, a little after 12, we will get started. I will be the host of that particular workshop, and Angela and will be definitely one of the presenters, and Dr. Marlo Mathis. Y'all know Dr. Marlo. She'll be on here sometime too, and she was just on here a few weeks ago. But she will be presenting on overcoming stress and anxiety in life and in the workplace. This workshop will address anxiety, stress management, and help persons in developing effective coping skills. And so they're going to be addressing questions and increasing the knowledge of symptoms of anxiety and depression, discovering hidden triggers of anxiety, which is important. Triggers are things that
Yes.
trigger us
Yes.
into this anxiety and depression, and also reducing emotional distress by taking care of your well-being, which is so important. We don't even address that.
Amen.
And also rejuvenating your mind, body, and spirit to live your best life, and also living life on purpose. That is so awesome. So overcoming stress and anxiety in life and in the workplace. So Angela, tell us a little bit about this workshop, what you're going to do to get the
Ooh-wee.
people, because last month we had a workshop, and we're so honored to the ones that are watching this show. We had about 80 some people there at the workshop.
Awesome.
And
Awesome.
and it was such a powerful time for us to share, and we talked about crisis management. And so today tomorrow we're going to be talking about stress and anxiety. So what do you have to say about that?
Well,
What's going to be happening on the workshop?
I'm so excited about the workshop and the series that you have presented, just because it is so needed. And sometimes, especially within the church, some will only have the opportunity to get to know more about it is if we go to them. Because for whatever reasons, as we talked about with Michelle Williams earlier, people don't seek the support, or they don't know where to even seek the support, or they don't even know how to identify what's going on with them, and they know something is off, and they know they're not quite themselves, or they had family or friends to, kind of tell them that they seem different. And so this is an opportunity for us to bring mental health into the church, which is so needed because of the stigma. And so we have daily jobs, and we have family life, and we have all of these things going on in our lives that sometimes we just don't slow down enough to
You said
really
slow down.
To realize when we need to do a check-in, a self-care check-in. And we are giving to other people, and some people who are so wrapped up in one-dimensional thinking and one-dimensional functioning, and so they think, well, if I just go to church,
if I just go to church
and pray about it and take it to the altar and leave it there, then everything will be okay, and that's fine, and that's well. I'm a believer. However, when you keep going to the altar with the same situation and talking to the deacon, the elder, the preacher, the minister,
You said going to the altar in the same...
with the same burden.
Yes.
Sometimes, at some point, we need to take a closer look at what's really going on. And as powerful and meaningful as prayer is, God gave us so much intelligence to know that we need additional support.
Oh, my.
And so he's placed others in place. Doctors for your medical needs. If you're having some issues going on there, you go see about your blood pressure, your heart issues, and all of that. You have your dentist,
yes.
which you go when things are going on with your teeth, and all these other professionals.
Yes, the
that
specialties.
Service, the specialties. Why is it that it's such a challenge to go take care of your mental and emotional well-being? And so this is our opportunity to come and talk about how to recognize when you're dealing with anxiety and you're dealing with depression, and all of the prayers are just not enough, because there's some practical things and there are some clinical things that are going on that you need in support with your prayer to kind of help get to your breakthrough. So it's so much there to unpack, and of course we can't get to all today or tomorrow, but we will, Dr. Marlowe and I, we will be there to just kind of shed light and ask questions and interact with those who have been dealing with things and are ready.
Yes.
They're ready to get free, and they're ready to figure out, how do I live my best life?
Yes.
With work stuff and family stuff. And so we'll talk about all of that tomorrow.
Yeah, and those things are very vital. I mean, and the depression rate is, I don't have the statistics in front of me, but it's so high. And what I also call it, this suffer in silence depression.
Yeah.
I'm just, giving my context. And a lot of times people are suffering in silence. They're smiling in public.
They're masking.
Yes, and yet at home or when they're alone, they're isolating themselves. People are really, and a lot of times a physical condition can also cause a mental health situation.
Absolutely.
When someone is losing their independence, especially as an independent person, and you have to depend on other people, no matter what stage in life that you are, that you have to depend on other people to live and to function. It also creates those type of moments where we would call in our counseling, the diagnosis, that kind of anxiety disorder, a lot of times, major depressive disorder, goes on, and also the adjustment disorder with mixed features such as anxiety and depressive moods that are going on. And I have seen it, and I have seen it directly related to medical. To a physical situation, and then it turns into a whole nother mental health situation.
And so that's a good checkpoint, because there is something called our baseline. And our baseline functioning is pretty much who we are on a regular, normal basis. Our personality, we all have days when things happen and, our mood may get a little, impacted, and we may feel a little down, but we're able to kind of bounce back up, because it's just, we recognize it's a fleeting moment. And,
exactly.
And so, you're able to plunge through and be happy and smile and socialize and do those things. So when you're at your baseline functioning, that's who you are under normal circumstances.
Exactly, yeah.
But then a great place to start looking into is something really going on here is if there is life changes. As Bryan talked about, the medical pieces, aging, the elderly, transitions in life, medical disorders, the loss of loved ones. When you start feeling like your days are more heavier and you're more sad and you're more isolated than your normal baseline self,
All right now.
then it's something to start really paying attention to. And so I often have people to journal. I often have people to do diary cards
yes.
just to kind of figure out how many days have I been feeling this way?
Assessment.
Yeah.
Self-assessment.
Yes, and because you got to be able to pay attention to you and what's going on and know how to do that.
Yeah, and those things are very vital, and as we're talking, and so we're definitely giving you all some clinical insight. I mean, this is a show that we're definitely talking about mental health, spirituality, and empowerment, and we cannot have those things without dealing with mental health and dealing with interventions to help. That's what we're about. We're in the helping field. We're not here to down and to judge, but we're here to help and to support people because people are really going through a lot of situations.
It's so many things. It seems like, and I'm so grateful to the pastor of the Victory for the World Church,
Dr. Kenneth L. Samuel. Now, he going to have to come on the show sometime. I'm putting it out there, and I'm going to tell him. Anyway, Dr. Samuel is going to be on the show, sometime soon. I know he is. He has a busy schedule, but he's going to be on the show to support because he definitely is in support.
Yeah, and so I appreciate the platform that he has provided for us to be able to do this because he understands that in the church, there are greater needs in conjunction with the spiritual needs.
Exactly.
And so we want to be able to just kind of provide the education and provide the intervention that's necessary to just keep the movement and the opportunity for people to, say, this mental health piece, because as Bryan was just saying, there's so many things going on in the world coming at you so quickly with your children, with your parents, in your relationships. And I have learned that when we don't take the time to self-assess and realize when we're burnt out and take the time off that we need and vacation and a getaway, and say no to some things. You talked about that earlier. Boundaries. I can't wait to talk about that tomorrow.
You're going to talk about that tomorrow?
I'm going to put on my Baptist robe and get my microphone and talk about boundaries. No, I won't have on a Baptist robe, but
we might. We don't know what you're going to do.
And we don't get in the pulpit and talk about self-awareness and boundaries.
I know that's right.
But no, it's crucial.
Okay, let me read the definition because you have taken us there. Then we're going to talk about church hurt, okay? Y'all call in definitely 770-988-6461. This is the Therapeutic Conversation Show. I'm your host, Dr. Bryan Jones. I'm joined here today with my co-host, Angela Dean. LPC is here in the house, too. And we are talking good today, aren't we?
Yes, we are.
But listen to this personal boundary, and then we're going to talk about church hurt. We already talked about the things. Definitely come to this workshop tomorrow, overcoming stress and anxiety in life and in the workplace. It is at Victory for the World Church, 1170 North Harrison Road, Stone Mountain, Georgia, 30083. That's 1170 North Harrison Road in Stone Mountain. And hopefully, I think we may need to Facebook Live some of it. What do you think?
I think that's wonderful. One of the mothers of the church reached out to me because she says, I want to be there. I may not be able to be there. She's disabled. She's in a wheelchair. She says, I can't sit that long. But will you all be recording or taking pictures?
We need to do something. I'm going to definitely think about that.
That's a wonderful idea.
Because I think that is vital. But we are going to be doing it. So we may be Facebook Live tomorrow.
Nice.
The parts of it, but overcoming stress and anxiety in the workplace and also being preventative. But listen to this thing, this definition, personal boundaries. Are you ready for this, Angela? Because I haven't even shared this with you yet.
Okay.
I just Googled it.
Okay.
All right? I did the Google.
Okay.
Personal boundaries are the physical, emotional, and mental limits we establish to protect ourselves from being manipulated, used, or violated by others.
My.
Hold on, I'm gonna read that again
Oh
because
yeah,
that's good.
Go back, Reverend.
Hallelujah. Wait, I gotta sit with that. This is live, y'all. I just had a hallelujah moment. Personal boundaries are physical, emotional, and mental limits
Yes.
that we establish.
We establish.
We establish. This is some good food, isn't it? I'm gonna read it again. Personal boundaries are physical,
Yeah.
saying no, emotional, and mental limits, mental limits that we establish to protect ourselves from being manipulated.
Woo. Can you explain what manipulation looks like?
Well, manipulation looks like is when people try to trick you and get you to do something, and a lot of times they use guilt and shame and you should have done this and you were this and and try to woo you into control and all of those type of things. And so those things are very vital when it comes to that. So that's part of manipulation, that we try to control and trick people. But notice this thing: personal boundaries are the physical, emotional, and mental limits we establish to protect ourselves from being manipulated, used, or violated by others. All right? They allow us to separate who we are and what we think and feel from the thoughts and feelings of others. I'm going to repeat that second part. That personal boundaries allow us to separate who we are and what we think and feel from the thoughts and feelings of others. And a lot of times in that definition, see, I'm giving y'all stuff that we do in the practice, and I don't know. I mean, y'all need to still come to the practice and come to counseling. But on a serious note, I'm giving this to you because this is so important in personal boundaries and also saying no.
Exactly.
You can go this far, but you can't go this far. You can say this, and I'm going to listen, but this, I can't go with you.
Say on.
I can't continue with you with these type of things. I'm not going to continue to go down this cycle with these personal boundaries. And so these things are important, but it allows us to separate who we are and what we think and feel from the thoughts of others. And what I'm doing a lot of times in my practice, I'm talking to people that have got in the habit, Angela, and the listeners, have got in the habit of people don't really know who the person is, but they know what you can do for them.
Woo!
Woo! I had to back up on that one. The spirit's moving in here.
I saw
I had to do a backup move. Woo! I felt like a preacher moment. But on a serious note, they don't know. They don't know who you are, but they know you as mama. They know you as dad. They know you as uncle. They know you as the ATM bank. They know you for what you can give, but they don't know who you are. Some of them don't even know your favorite color.
And see, that's a part of those relationships, those toxic relationships you end up in, and you wonder why you're so exhausted. But you know what? The boundary setting must start within. It's pivotal.
Oh my! Say that again. That is powerful. We gotta do work. What?
You gotta do it within. The boundary setting must start within. You have to recognize what your limitations are, and the way you do that is you have to know what your value systems are, which means you gotta have some.
Yes, value systems help.
You have to know what your value systems are, your priorities, and your standards and your expectations. And once you're clear.
Ooh. Clarity is a must.
But see, that's how counseling helps, because sometimes you got to get in and get clear.
Yeah, and we giving this for free today. People pay $150, $200, $300 just to sit with us. And we're speaking something here because it's the truth. I mean, we gotta know, we gotta have boundaries, and guess what? That leads us to church hurt.
Ooh, now I'm going back.
You went back. That leads us to church hurt.
I'm leaning back.
Now, I got to clue you in, Angela, because I know you be seeing clients during this time, so you don't see all the shows. But Dr. Kathy Martin, Dr. Kathy Martin talked about narcissistic type behavior from leaders, spiritual leaders.
Oh,
And we talked about, that narcissistic personality is just drenched, saturated in a lot of our churches, that type of personality. And so when we're talking about that, Elise,
I see you, Elise
she
Murray.
said per hour. Yes, yes, yes. If somebody's searching for a counselor, you can definitely check us out at www.joshua-generation.net or call us at 470-545-2297. I think that's Nikki says she's searching for a counselor. We're available, and
can
we have
help
other
you.
counselors too.
We
If
can
you're in the
help
Atlanta
you.
area, other than that, we can try to refer you to somebody. So this word is powerful. I'm telling you this. This is just, but they don't know who people are. And I think that in church hurt, we got to establish these personal and spiritual. Let's add another part to it.
Yes.
We got to establish these personal and spiritual boundaries. We have to decide what we are going to allow in our space and what we're not going to allow. And
Yeah.
and I'm looking at like the Jim Jones story. Let's go there.
Okay.
For people who don't know Jim Jones, not kin to me now. I don't know who he was.
Let's get clear about
Yes,
that.
let's get clear. He wasn't a family member of mine that I know of. Okay, I don't know, but I don't think he was. But anyway, and she's in Baltimore, Nikki. So we're gonna just reach out. Just give us a call.
Okay.
We'll do whatever. We have, we can definitely try to,
Connect
refer.
you.
Also, Psychology Today is
Yes.
another place that you may want to look, Nikki, to just get, some,
For your
and
area.
you can also interview these therapists. Go in the session and just see whether it's a good fit. Look at their
recommend that all the
website,
time.
look at what they're doing, look at, what they're saying, what their belief system is, whether they also understand your spirituality and your
Yeah.
theology. It's
Which-
very vital.
Which links right back to the church piece because
Yeah.
you're absolutely right. I
Yeah.
always encourage people when they call me on the phone. I said, not only speak with me on the phone or come in, I would
Yeah.
actually prefer that you speak to 2 or 3 other people. I know a lot of times people
Yeah.
don't. They're in crisis or they're trying to get in right quick, but it's very
Yeah.
important that you have a good fit
Yeah.
with the person who is going to be managing your emotional
Yeah.
well-being. It's the most awful thing
very
that
important.
you can do is get in and start unpacking all of your precious, most private, painful
Yes.
issues, and it's with the wrong person.
Exactly.
Just like with the wrong church.
Exactly.
So go on, Reverend.
Hold on. You just dropped something else. You said with the wrong church. All right, the wrong church or spiritual center. I am not going to go there, but church hurt. People are hurting, but that's what we're talking about. You got to establish boundaries, and I'm going to say something else. I'm going to be in trouble. Stop blaming other people when you have personal authority.
Ooh.
Stop blaming other people in your church hurt. You allowed it.
You allowed it.
Yes, you sat up under it. You stayed there, and and come on now. Some stuff you need to stop allowing.
Yeah.
Why sit up there and go to places that won't accept you?
My,
All of you.
oh, wait,
What?
there's a call?
Oh, there's a call.
You have
We
stirred
on
something
here
there.
Preaching. We on here preaching. We preaching, y'all. We live.
But you know what? That's very
All right,
important.
caller. Please state your name, caller. This is the Therapeutic Conversation Show. There's a caller on the line. Okay.
Hello, Margaret Conley.
Yes, Margaret.
Hi, Margaret.
I know you got
Hi.
something to say. Are we hot tonight or what?
Oh my God!
Are we on it? Are we
Uh-uh.
on it? Are we following spirit?
Y'all so on it,
Are
like
we-
y'all are kicking my booty today. And sometimes therapists just need a good, quick, swift kick in the butt. And like we don't want to admit it, and we don't want to talk about it because it's like, then we have to admit. We have to admit our stuff. And so like this moment of self-care and I want to integrate self-care and church hurt.
Go ahead.
I heard a preacher the other day say, it's not church hurt, but it was church preparation. Because people don't want to really talk about church hurt, but you hurt me. Because I don't want to say if somebody took a knife and sliced my arm and I didn't want them to do that, it was preparation for something.
Mm-hmm.
So that person and I'm bleeding, and so we need to have the appropriate tools. Like if someone cuts you and it's deep enough, you want to get to the emergency room. to get that sewn up to make sure you don't get infected.
Exactly.
So I think this is where we downplay church hurt with self-care, because you said it great, Bryan. We put ourselves in situations where we know we don't need to be.
Exactly.
We want to fit in places where we know we're not welcome. And that's not just that's speaking to any piece of community.
Exactly.
We want to be a part of something because it looks good.
Exactly.
But that's not what we're supposed to be. And so, y'all know I've been doing lives with my nonprofit.
Yes, I saw.
With being where we need to be. And I think as African Americans and minorities, because it's Minority Mental Health Awareness Month,
Yes.
we get stuck in captivity because we flourish in it.
Yeah.
We're good at what we do. We have built this country on our back. We have created systems. We created the red light. We created art procedures. We create things, but we are in exile. Like, we're still not welcome in the totality of who we are, but we settle for growth in exile.
Yeah.
And so that hurts me when preachers say, oh, it's not church hurt, it's church preparation.
Yeah.
No, it's really a cut.
Yeah.
It's really a cut. It really did happen. It really did happen. I don't think, and I'll be raw, and you guys can stop me later because y'all know me, but I don't think, like, church hurt when you're violated by someone you trust as your leader, emotionally, physically, and sexually. It's not church preparation. That's not preparing me to continue to go to church.
Yeah.
That's a hurt.
Oh, yeah.
And it needs to be managed professionally. Y'all know I promote professional help.
Yes.
And so it needs to be promoted. You need to promote, go see a therapist. I'm quick to say, go get on the couch and talk about it.
Yeah. Yeah. And
church hurt is real.
And yes, and I agree, Margaret, because I also believe that our feelings are important, and but I think we also have to still, as you're saying, examine our part in it. How do we participate in it? Because some people thrive off of dysfunction. They live off of dysfunction.
Yes.
They have a wound, and they're going to tell everybody about the wound, and they just going to walk around, but they're not going to get the necessary help that they need, but they're going to thrive off of those things. That's what I'm speaking to, is that, that type of thing where that person has a history of being abusive.
Yeah.
But yet we're drawn to those type of things. Or we'll say, oh, it's not going to happen to us that person did this to someone else, but they're not going to do it to us because I'm different.
Well, and I think,
I think it goes to the biblical thought of King Asa. He knew his feet were diseased, and all he had to do is just get rid of the disease.
Yeah,
he chose to sit where he was and die.
Yeah.
So some of us enjoy the disease to fester.
Yeah,
I'm not putting that down.
Yeah, we enjoy being handicapped too, but and I think that we gotta move from that too. And some of the stuff we just gotta let go. And Oprah or someone said this years ago. Sometimes you gotta self-acceptance of situations is it had to happen the way that it happened. It could not have happened any other way. And some things are learning. Is a learning. And I'm not trying to say that we should allow people to take advantage of people, but also we got to take personal responsibility and go back to this boundary thing set up a boundary.
Yeah.
Look, I'm going to go this far in this church and do this, but when I'm, when it's affecting my mental health, when it's affecting my relationships, when it's affecting my marriage, when it's affecting my kids, there's some boundaries I got to set up. You don't let a predator come in your house and just sit in your house, and you know that they are a predator. You don't allow that to happen. You set up a boundary and say, no, I got to protect my kids. I got to watch, and we got to start protecting ourselves, not walk in fear, because God hasn't given us a spirit of fear, but I think that we got to walk in awareness and know, and maybe years ago, people didn't know that, we didn't have technology like we have today. We didn't have, people weren't talking about counseling like they had today. And some of the stuff, we grew up in church. We heard some of the embedded theology. We heard, some of the church, the bishop said, the pastor said. We heard some of that because we didn't know any better. But these days, what I'm saying is there's no excuse why we have to stay in places that are harmful, places that don't accept us, places that don't fully embrace mind, body, and spirit.
And I do want to say that it is important know that we are aware, being a part of a faith walk, we are aware that it's a very vulnerable place to be. And so
Beautiful.
we're not beating anyone up for finding themselves in a situation where some type of violation has taken place. But it is important, going back to why this mental health workshop tomorrow and this very show, this platform is important,
Very
because
important.
it's time now for people to start realizing that your self-worth is so critical. And what does that look like?
Yes,
And
yes.
so now taking those steps, and when you do start realizing that whatever I'm aligned with, whether it's my home life, whether it's my church life, whether it's wherever I'm, my work life, if where I'm aligned does not speak and pour into my spirit in a positive way, then I probably should be taking a second look at, why am I a part of this? Why am I agreeing to be a part of this?
Why am I signing up for it?
Exactly. So it is a process, and we do acknowledge that it's a process, and so a lot of times hurt people.
It is, and I want to do a shameless pitch for myself, because I love you guys. Y'all have helped me blossom and grow.
We love you too.
So I owe Joshua Generation my everything.
Well, we love you
gratitude to
too.
both of you for taking a chance on me. And my shameless pitch, I'm working on a concept called Self Matters. And so initially when I introduced it to some people, they were like, well, the Bible says we're supposed to give our life away. And I said, you misread that. I said, because the Bible also gives us a command that we need to love others as we love ourselves.
Exactly.
I said, and if you don't need to love you, then there is no way that you're going to be able to create boundaries and set up things and set up legacies. And so Self Matters is a new project that I'm working on. Hopefully I can roll it out by August, but
Wonderful.
I mean, not by August, by September. That's the rollout. But that, I want to put that in because self matters. And, it's a play on the word, but, we talk about everything else mattering. We don't talk about ourselves.
No.
And so we put ourselves in these positions of hurt.
No.
And so self matters. And I'm going to be talking about that a little bit today on Facebook Live with Audrey Upchurch.
What time
at
is
11,
that?
If
at
you
11?
Guys can join me.
Okay, so definitely follow Margaret on her Facebook page, and definitely, and then
Yes,
Margaret, you're doing
Margaret L. Conley.
Yes, follow her that, and I'm going to be glancing at that. I think I have a session, but I'm going to be in and out, and I mean, and even the other one you did was wonderful. So Margaret, they can definitely reach you, and you're going to be back on the show soon to be able to talk about your resilient group and all kinds of stuff. Just follow her on her page.
Yes,
she's doing all kinds of different things, and she's also adding that spiritual component, trained in both fields. So definitely, thank you for calling, Margaret.
Thanks, Margaret. Have
no
a good
problem.
Day.
Thank you guys for being great. Joshua Generation.
Yes. Thank you.
Oh, thank you.
All right, and so Erica, hey Erica.
Hi, Erica.
Erica's also part of the Joshua Generation. The Joshua Generation's in the house today. She's also part, and she's asking a question: what do you say to people who don't believe church hurt exists or may not be aware? And I mean, the church itself doesn't hurt people, but people in the church. And we got to understand definitely that people are damaged. We all are, working towards stuff. But when we know better, we can then hopefully do better. So church hurt does exist because people get hurt, but it's not just church hurt. We get hurt in relationships. That's what I would say. These relationships that we trust, that we think that are,
happen in the church.
But I'm still gonna say this, and I'm probably gonna get in trouble again. You are responsible for your own spiritual development.
Well, now say on.
You are responsible for your own spiritual development. Now, I'm not saying that church, in my opinion, is a tool to assist you in your growth and in your spiritual development. But it is not the responsibility, in my opinion, of the church to do everything for you.
Amen.
You are responsible for your own soul salvation, if I can use that term that's in the text. You're responsible for your own development, your own growth, your own relationship.
Because that's too much once again. Accountability. self
Oh, I thought the
accountability.
spirit on that one.
and I want to say this, but I'm having such a wonderful time. But
Yeah, and we're gonna wrap up in a few minutes.
because I have
Yeah.
a session.
I know we
But,
got to go. We got to go.
But I do want to say self accountability. It's not realistic, and it's not even fair to place all the responsibility on anyone else to get you fixed. So even with the minister, the pastor, the deacons, those elders, whoever's in place of leadership that bring forth the word of God and services and everything, they're human too.
Yes.
And there's only so much that they can do. And
Yes.
so we have a responsibility during the week before we shall meet again on Sunday or Saturday or whenever
Yeah.
your Sabbath is. We have a responsibility to be daily
Thank you.
developing,
Yes.
daily seeking things, which means during the
Yes.
week you probably have to withdraw from some of those associations that
Uh-oh.
keep you bound.
Hold on now. And we're
just
really
saying.
doing this. You're going to have to come
I'm
back
just
and we got to
saying.
finish this
I'm
because
just
we
saying.
got to close in a few minutes. But you said the other relationship,
There are some things that's happening in the middle of the week.
Yes.
From Sunday to Sunday.
Yes.
That keep you in that same personal, private
Yes.
predicament.
Wow.
That keeps you in that cycle. And then you want to get to church on Sunday and put all of the responsibility on somebody else to help you through it, when that's not all of their responsibility to do that.
So
And
we're talking about personal responsibility, and we're not slighting people. Everybody needs assistance sometimes. Don't get me wrong. I'm not just speaking to those people, but we're speaking to the people. Some people, you know better.
And then when they get to church and
know,
the church can't help them, then they have church hurt.
Yep, and then they go off, you know? And so
they
we
do.
got to start dealing with this because as people are doing it, and that's why I'm glad you're talking tomorrow about overcoming stress and anxiety in life and in the workplace at Victory for the World Church, because of the simple fact that the same way people are coming in and being dissatisfied on their workplace, you know, in their workplace and on their jobs and coming in with guns and doing stuff. Guess what? It's the
Doing it at
same kind of stuff that we may see. We praying that we don't, but we want to be preventative, but that we
Yes.
could see in church.
Yes.
That people come in and they go in and, you know, because they don't know any other way to deal with it. So that's what we're talking about. Personal responsibility, but get the help that you need. And I want to close today with this personal boundary. Now, at least you want to call in. I know I'm going to let Angela go. I got like a few more minutes because we were, had some technical difficulties. So the producer said I could stay on just a few more minutes. So I will take your call. 770-988-6461. If somebody would type that in the comments for me, that would be good. 770-988-6461. But I do want to just, before you go, Angela, we got to go back to reading this thing. And this is what we're talking about. This is the Therapeutic Conversation Show. Some people are still just joining us now. Personal boundaries are physical and emotional and mental limits we establish to protect ourselves from being manipulated, used, or violated by others. They allow us, these boundaries, to separate who we are and what we think and feel from the thoughts and feelings of others. But the main part about this thing is right there in that part about these physical, emotional, and mental limits that we have to establish to protect ourselves. That's what we're talking about.
And that's the work of counseling, and it does sometimes tie into loyalty. We feel a loyalty or an obligation to something, whether it's a church, we grew up in it, our family, we're, by blood, we're just in it. And so we stay in things longer than we should, and we take longer than we should to establish the line that should not be crossed, which leads back into those symptoms of anxiety.
Exactly.
And those symptoms of depression. And I mean, we can talk about this all day long. This is our jush. This is what we do. But I want to thank you, Bryan, and your listeners and your callers. You're always so wonderful. Thank you for the opportunity to just be here.
And you're a part of the Joshua generation too. I tell you, that Joshua generation doing it. All right, Angela.
Okay.
Angela has to go. I'm gonna stay on
Gotta
for
go
another.
downstairs and
I'm
go
gonna
host
stay
the
on
people.
for another 10 minutes. We're still talking about church hurt. This is the Therapeutic Conversation Show. I'm your host, Dr. Bryan Jones, LPC. We are releasing Angela. She has to go, and I'm gonna be joining my things I need to do down there too. So go ahead, have a good time, Angela, and thank you for your time.
Thank
I'm
you.
gonna stay on just for a few more minutes, just to answer any calls. You can call at 770-988-6461, 770-988-6461. It has been a hot topic this whole day, talking about church hurt, talking about just personal responsibility, and that we got to start dealing with our own stuff and not blaming other people. A lot of times we're blaming other people, even in the church. We're blaming other people for all the things that has happened to us, and we got to start taking personal responsibility. Sometimes we put ourselves in these situations, and we get what we get because we create some of this stuff. We participate in some of this stuff. So I'm gonna stay on for just a few more minutes. 770-988-6461. If you have a comment about church hurt, you can call in. I'm only going to be on for about maybe 5 more minutes, but you can call in. I know at least you were saying something about you wanted to call in, but it's 770-988-6461, 770-988-6461. Is there anybody going to call in? Otherwise, I'm going to definitely have to get off the air. Church hurt. I'm telling you, it's something, and it is real. I mean, people are hurting. People are really struggling with things, and we got to understand. But we got to establish these personal boundaries and take responsibility. You are responsible for your own spiritual growth and development. You are responsible for that. You cannot put that on a pastor. You cannot put that on a friend. And also, you're responsible for your own happiness too. Let me add that into it. I guess I'm going to be totally in trouble today. You are responsible for your own happiness. You cannot look to a relationship to 100% make you happy, somebody else to make you happy, when you're not happy with yourself. That is what we're talking about in this show. And I see all the likes, all the hearts, because it's the truth. Personal responsibility. Stop blaming other people, but set personal and spiritual boundaries. Set those boundaries. Set those things that are appropriate, that will help you to protect you from being manipulated, used, or controlled by other people. That is a powerful statement, powerful word. One last call, as we would say, one last call, 770-988-6461. Before we get off, is anybody got something to say? I see all the comments, and I see hashtag personal responsibility. There you go. I'm going to use that this week because it's powerful. But anyway, I got to run. But thank you all so much for joining the Therapeutic Conversation Show. Personal boundaries. I'm going to close with this because I want everybody to get this definition. Google it. If you need to Google it, you just put in personal boundaries. It'll come up for you. Personal boundaries are physical, emotional, and mental limits we establish to protect ourselves from being manipulated, used, or violated by others. They allow us to separate who we are and what we think and feel from the thoughts and feeling of others. These are personal boundaries, and those things are very important. So Google a definition, begin to use it. We have a call from Baltimore, Maryland. Caller, you're on. This is a Therapeutic Conversation Show. Dr. Bryan Jones.
This is Nikki Beatty. I was just calling in.
Yes. What you
Hi,
think?
how are you?
I'm wonderful. Thank you. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. I began to say that there's no such thing as church hurts, but then I thought about it. I said, wait a minute. When I came into the fold, when I first got saved, I was hurt by other members of the church, but it really hurt me a lot. But I never left God.
Yes.
That's the one thing about it, is that we have to remember that the reason why we go to church is not for the people, but we have to remember to go to church for our relationship with God.
Exactly.
And if we continue to focus on learning about Him and hearing from Him and that's the reason why we're going, then that's going to help us in everything that, with the people that we meet, then that's just going to be an extra perk.
Correct.
Either you like them or you don't, or you know what I'm saying.
Correct.
You don't have to deal.
You still there?
You deal with them.
Okay.
You deal with them on a as needed basis.
Exactly, and I mean, I definitely hear what you're saying, Nikki, because I think that it's very vital that we put it in perspective, and I think that we put too much on other people, not just in the church, but just too much on other people. And there's a workshop that I do, and I talk about relationships, and even in relationships, intimate relationships, we come to the table thinking that this other person is perfect, that this other person is going to save us. This other person is going to be our everything that we want that we don't have within ourselves. And that's a lie. We set ourselves up for hurt and failure and disappointment.
Remember that we have babes in Christ coming in.
Yeah.
That people prey on them.
Yeah. Yeah.
People prey on newcomers into the fold.
Of course.
And they don't know how to relate to other Christians, so they think that, oh, this is going to be my sister, this is going to be my best friend,
of course.
And we're gonna hang, we're gonna be like best friends forever because we're in Christ, and it doesn't work that way.
You're right.
It really doesn't work.
You're right, and it doesn't. And I just think that, but I think that we got to look at it in perspective, because just because people are coming into the church and they're new, I am going to say this, just because they're coming into the church and they're new, don't mean they haven't lived.
True.
Some of these boundaries we've set.
I was new to everything. I was new to it all. I was young. I was like 20 years old, and hadn't had many friendships, to say the least. But I was like, okay, this is somebody I'm going to be close with, and we're going to be sisters.
Gotcha.
And if I get married, then she's going to be in my wedding, and if she gets married, I'm going to be in her wedding, and stuff like that. But I understand now that we all grow apart.
Yeah.
And things change.
Gotcha.
So I had to learn that, and that was something. Now that we're friends again, but I also had to learn the situation.
Got you. And I definitely hear what you're saying. And, everything is a learning experience. But then once you learn, what do? Once you learn the lesson,
you learn better, and you learn to do better.
Yep, and you put up a boundary. So I have to run. Thank you for calling in so much and for following the show. Please like the Facebook page, Therapeutic Conversation Show, and also the Joshua Generation Care Consulting Services, and anything that we can do to help and support you. We're definitely here for you. So thank you for your comments. Thank you for calling in today, okay? You take care.
Okay. Thank you. Bye-bye.
All right. Be blessed. All right. So thank you all for joining the Therapeutic Conversation Show. Of course, we ran over just a little bit of time. We had some technical difficulties at the beginning, but we have been talking about boundaries and setting these personal boundaries. And this week, be responsible for your own spiritual growth. Be responsible for your own happiness first. You have to look at yourself first and be happy, and then you can bring happiness in the relationship to other people. But if you're not happy, that filters over into the relationship. Get the support. Get the counseling that you need. There's no reason why people have to suffer in silence. If you are hurt by the church, get the counseling, get the support, talk through it. But then also we got to learn how to forgive and how to let go. Sometimes things are no longer serving us well, and we got to let those things go and release those things so we can heal and live a productive life that God wants us to live. So thank you all for joining us. I see Charlene Flagg is joining us. Charlene is going to be on sometime soon to talk about this mental health conference, that we're having. And Chelsea Payne Cookie, she's been on. She's on. Donald, was on. Hey, Donald. Pamela was on today. And, of course, Erica and Elise. Everybody was on. And I just see a lot of other people on. Thank you all so much for listening to me. Please join us. Support the show, Therapeutic Conversation Show. This is your host, Dr. Bryan Jones, LPC. We're here every Saturday from 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. on 108 Praise Radio. Please like the Facebook page, 108 Praise Radio as well, and support all of the shows, it's just diverse shows that are on this network. So please continue to join us. Also download the app, look at the website, do all of that. But know that you matter, but boundaries matter. Personal, I like that hashtag, personal responsibility. Or what? And Joe Madison says, he's one of the radio hosts on CS Radio, and he says, what are you going to do about it? You complain, we do all this, but what you going to do about it? What you going to do about it for yourself? And that's very vital and very important. Have a good week and take care of yourself. Personal boundaries. You're responsible for your own spiritual growth and development, and you cannot put that off on someone else. So be encouraged, be blessed, and have a good week.